Cheese is a powerful, powerful ingredient. It tastes good, number one, but it's also powerful because it has in it natural cheese. When I say cheese, I'm talking about cow cheese or goat cheese or any other of the animal-based cheeses rather than the plant-based cheeses. Has chemicals in it that are very strong, that are very addictive. And that's why when we actually eat cheese, we feel a certain way, we feel better. And so for some of us, that's why making that shift may be hard or harder than even getting rid of other stuff, because that's the connection that we have with cheese. Well, what we want to show you today is a cheese that tastes pretty close. In fact, I think it tastes right on the spot with other cheeses or animal-based cheeses, but this one doesn't have those harmful side effects, or you'll get addicted to it in a good way and that you'll enjoy eating it. And one of the other benefits of it too is that it's an affordable option. There are a lot of vegan cheese options out there, way more than there were, let's say, when we were coming up or growing up. And that's a blessing. And if you can afford it, that's great. You can take advantage of that. We want to support those businesses who are trying to introduce plant-based living into the marketplace. But if your budget may not be as big as others, and if you want to be more hands-on and involved in making your own cheese, this is a recipe that we think will be a blessing to you, and that we hope will help you diversify your palate, expand your options when it comes to making foods, because if we have time and if things work out here, we're going to try and make not just the vegan cheese, but we're going to also try and make it as a vegan macaroni and cheese. And so in order to do that, let's get the ingredients up. I'm going to show you the ingredient list, and hopefully it will allow me to do that because we're on one screen here. And so now I want to see if we can get you a hold of that. Let's see. If you can't see it, that's okay. I will put it up during our next segment, during the message. But I think we're running into the same problem that we had before, where it can't do both of us. So if we've got to choose between one or the other, we'll stay with the kitchen, even if we can't do the ingredients. But the ingredient list is fairly simple, and I'm going to actually just walk you through it even right now. What you're going to need first off is that for this recipe, you got to have a blender. Okay, a blender is important because the blender is how you're going to bring all of your components together. So you need a blender. Doesn't matter what kind it is. It can be a $5 blender or $500 blender. It doesn't matter. But as long as it can bring it together, because all the ingredients that we're going to make are going to be softened, so you don't really need an expensive blender to bring it all together. So you can make sure that you have yourself a blender of some type. Now, our major components, and we see them cooking back here on the stove, is that we're going to have carrots and potatoes. Okay, you need 2 cups of chopped potatoes and 1 cup of chopped carrots. Now, those carrots and potatoes should be skinned because we don't want those in the cheese because they'll color it. It's not that they won't taste good, but you don't want that graininess, because normally when we eat cheese, especially a melted cheese, it's smooth, right? So you want to keep it smooth. So to make it smooth, you want to have 2 cups of chopped potatoes and then 1 cup of chopped and peeled carrots. All right, so we're going to take our potatoes and carrots off the stove. All right, we're going to take those off, and I'm going to show those to you in just a moment. We're going to strain them, okay? You want to strain them so they're nice and hot, but more importantly, they're soft. You want to cook these for about 20 minutes. That's usually what you want to aim for. 20 minutes should do it on the stove, boiling, so they're in a nice consistency that's soft. So even if I were to take one of these cubes, it's burning hot. So I want to take one to show you what soft means, because soft is relative, right? I'm going to let that cool off for a moment. And so you want it to be soft enough so that if you were to take it in your hand like this, okay, take it into the fingers, make sure you can see. And this is what a soft potato can do, okay? You should be able to take that potato and mash it in your finger, okay? So I try to talk to all the cooks who are like me from the very, very beginning. What does soft mean? What is hard? So we try to make it simple here so that you can see anybody can do this, right? If I'm doing it, you definitely can do it. So you're going to take our cup of cooked, boiled potatoes and carrots, okay? And we're going to put those in our blender. All right, so now you've got your base for your cheese. All right? It didn't require any cashews. I know a lot of you who are vegan out there, you use cashew cheese. I love cashew cheese. It tastes great. It's good fat. It's got good flavor. But cashews can be expensive. And so again, if cashews may not be in your range, or they might even be available, because you want to have a cashew that is raw. You want a raw cashew that's unsalted. Those can be a little pricey, and it can be harder to find. Whereas finding a potato or finding a carrot, well, that's a whole lot easier to do. And that's why I really love this recipe, because it's flexible and it's doable. So now that we've got our potato and carrot mixture in, we're going to take our macaroni off, and praise the Lord, our macaroni is ready to go. So we're going to take our macaroni off, and we're going to let that sit for a moment before we strain it. Okay? So now we've got our potato and carrot base. Now at this point, really, we're just going to season, and we're also going to oil this. I say season oil because you don't have to have a lot of ingredients, but you do need a couple. You've got your potatoes and carrots. Now you need olive oil. And you need that, and I forgot to get it, so I'm going to grab that. And I also forgot to grab the milk. So I need to grab that milk as well. So we want to take 1/3 cup of olive oil. We use olive oil. Some people say, well, should you use extra virgin or should you use virgin? You know what? Here's what I found when it comes to olive oil. Olive oil of any kind is better than any vegetable oil, any soybean oil, any canola oil that you have out there. Those are oils that are made and they're not naturally occurring. Whereas an olive oil is simply just an oil that's pressed. So whether you choose to use extra virgin, the difference that you're going to find when you're using extra virgin as opposed to the regular olive oil is that there's a flavor difference. And that flavor difference is really negligible if you're putting it into a dish. You really will only taste it if you're putting that oil, say, into a dressing, where again, you're directly eating the oil. That's when the flavor will be more pronounced. And there are a lot of great all 100% imported olive oil outlets. I suggest, again, look to those because they've all even flavored olive oils. In fact, that's one of the things we're going to do. We're going to make some basil olive oil one week. May do that next week. We'll see what happens. Show you how you can do that. But the point being is this: whether it's extra virgin, great. But even if it's virgin, good. It's going to be better than anything else that you'll see in those 5 or 8 gallon bottles that you see that was mass produced from someone else. So we want to get, in this case, we just have olive oil here, classic olive oil, and you need 1/3 cup of that. All right, so we're going to put our olive oil on our potatoes and carrots. Now, we need some milk. Milk is that component that's going to provide the milkiness. But guess what? You don't need cow's milk to do that. You can simply use a plant-based milk. Give me a second. I'm going to go grab that milk here. When you get the milk, oh, great. We got some milk right here. When you get the milk, it can be any plant-based milk. Now, it's better that it's unsweetened, but if you like a sweet note to your cheese, some cheeses have that, then just use the sweetened milk. But for taste's sake and for health's sake, we go with the unsweetened, but I do like the vanilla. I don't just use the unsweetened because then it has zero flavor. You're basically drinking water at that point. So I suggest using the vanilla if you can. So now we're going to take that and we're going to add a 1/2 cup of plant-based oil, all right? So we got our 1/2 cup here. 1/2 cup of milk. I said oil, I meant milk. And this is almond milk, okay? So now we've got our milk and our oil together. So you've basically constructed the structure of cheese when you put the milk and the oil and your base together. Now we want to create the flavor. And the key to making the flavor is a couple of ingredients. I do need a bottle of lemon juice that's in the refrigerator as well. Thank you so much, sweetie, for grabbing that for me. But the key components that are going to take it now to that level, to that cheese level, is this right here. And we're introducing this to some of us, but these are what are called nutritional yeast flakes. Nutritional yeast flakes, normally, it says it here on the box, but they're normally vegan and gluten-free and non-GMO. And when you look at what they actually are, it's a dried yeast, and you look at the ingredients that make it so powerful is that it's like yeast with vitamins, right? That's kind of basically how it works. Well, the cool thing about this nutritional yeast flake is that it has a flavor that is very naturally cheesy. It has that stink to it because it's a yeast. And so because of that, it makes a good way to give something a cheesy flavor, that stinky cheesy flavor, without it actually being cheese. And I'm going to show you here how it looks but you need nutritional yeast flakes, and we're going to need a half a cup of those. So we had a half a cup of milk, and now we're going to add a half a cup of these flakes. Now, these flakes can be pricey. So what I suggest you do, if you're going to make this often and a lot of cheese, you would come out ahead if you just ordered online in bulk or in a larger size. So rather than getting it in a bottle, say it's like this size, like a 16-ounce bottle, this is a 1 pound bag. This 1 pound bag, I believe, if I'm calling it right, was about $15 versus paying, say, $8 or $9 for 16 ounces. So just do the math, 16 ounces as opposed to 1 pound. You're going to come out ahead if you get the larger bag, right? So we're going to get our nutritional yeast flakes, and let me show you how they look. Grab a spoon. This is really cool. So this is how they look. They're kind of golden, yellow. I don't know if you can see. There we go. They're kind of golden there. The color may not be picking up here, but there's a yellow color that's to it. And they're very flaky. Okay. So now we're going to get a half a cup of this. So this is like gold, right? So we don't want to waste it. So we're going to have a cup of these. And the thing is, even if you see on the picture here on this particular brand, this is an easy way to make your popcorn turn into cheesy popcorn. If you have any dish and you just want to give it a cheesy note, some of you make pasta, you make spaghetti, you want to use vegan cheese, just grab some nutritional yeast flakes, sprinkle that on top. Better for you, tastes good, just like the Parmesan cheese. So this is a half a cup, all right? So now we got a half a cup of nutritional yeast flakes in our mix. Now we're going to add lemon juice. Well, lemon juice is good in that it adds the acidity that's in the cheese. And so we're going to make our own acidity here with lemon juice. So our bottle of lemon juice, we need a tablespoon, and we're going to need a teaspoon, okay? So we're going to add a tablespoon or 2 of lemon juice. Again, I'm going to bring this recipe up later so that you can see it and you can make it on your own. But now we make it together, and that's fun too. So now we've got all of our components in here, and now we want to season it. When it comes to seasoning, even when I show you the recipe and you get the list, season to taste. Some of you like cheeses that may not have an herbaceous or an herby taste. Our family likes that, so I'm going to add some herbs to it that give it kind of that deeper profile. But if you just wanted to just kind of have more of that fatty taste, you're not going to want to maybe put in basil or oregano and stuff like that. So it really depends on what you like. So these are, at this point, after I show you the salt, it's you just go with what you think. Experiment. Do it one time with it, then do it one time without it. See which one you like most, right? So we're going to add a teaspoon of salt, and I just have here some coarse sea salt, and just a hint more. All right, so we got salt. Now we're going to add our other ingredients. Garlic powder. Garlic powder and onion powder are going to go in there, and I don't think I grabbed the garlic powder. Let me grab the garlic powder because garlic powder is good. It's good for us, and it tastes great. So we're using powders here. And again, if you have a lower power blender, you want to stick with the powders. But if you have a high power blender and you got the actual spices, you can go ahead and drop those in there. It'll really grind it up. But if not, I'd stick with the powders. All right. So we want to go with 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. And then you want to get your onion powder. You want 2 teaspoons of onion powder. Uno. Dos. All right. And now we're going to go with our herbs, our greenies. We're going to add in, do a teaspoon of oregano. You can be generous with it. It doesn't have to be scientific, right? It can be heaping, it can be flat. It doesn't matter because we're not baking. We're just blending. When you're baking, that's when you really got to top off. You got to really watch your dimensions. But we're just blending. So just go for it. Use your hand. Or use a teaspoon like this. And now we're going to add our basil in there. Okay? What we're doing here is we're mixing up the flavors. Our tongue has more taste to tastes. So that's where you're giving it a deeper profile. Now, these are important too. because the turmeric powder is what's going to make your cheese look yellow. If you don't add it, it'll make it look more white. So it'll have more of a Swiss look. But if you add turmeric in there, now it's kind of looking like a cheddar cheese. And when most of us eat macaroni and cheese, I know growing up, most of the time we made the, animal mac and cheese. It was yellow. So we want to make ours a nice golden yellow. What do they call it? Liquid gold. Excuse me. All right. So now, wash my hands. Cleanliness is next to godliness. So the last thing I'm going to add, this one's optional too. This one is the cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper, I like it to have a little heat, okay, when we are partaking. So you just want to add like a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, okay? So we're just going to hit a 1/4 of that. And the thing about it is, once we've blended it all together, you taste it. If it doesn't taste spicy enough, or if it doesn't have the right salt, or if you don't get that herby taste, just go back in, add some more, and you're done, okay? So we've got all of our ingredients in our blender. This is a Ninja blender. So this is not a top of the line to show you that it gets the job done. This is a great blender though. We've loved it for years. I can't think how long we've had. It's been, man, maybe at least 8 years or so. But no, I can't remember. I don't know. I was looking at Tara, see if she remembered. She doesn't remember. It's about 10 years, yeah. I know it's older than Jael, so good Ninja. Here we go. Now we're going to blend it up together. And this is how it's going to look. The blender did not go out. You know what happened? I bet you a circuit broke. Circuit breaker went out on us. So I'm going to use the other side and see if that one's on. You never know what's going to happen. Yep, this whole side of the kitchen went out. So I'm going to need to go flip the switch on the breaker. It'll take all of a minute. Don't leave. We're going to finish getting this blended together, and then we're going to put it on the macaroni. Hang tight. Be All right, everybody. Hopefully that took care of the problem. You know, sometimes we can get upset. Okay. There was no sound. Hopefully you all can hear now. If we still can't, let us know. If there's no sound, if you can hear, great too. Still no sound. If not, it's going to come out of the mic. Okay. So now you should be able to hear me. You'll hear me a little bit differently because we're going on through the laptop mic. Okay. So here we are with our macaroni. We're going to go ahead and strain our macaroni. Normally, when you're using regular pasta, you got to be worried about it sticking to each other. Not so much with gluten-free pasta because you don't have the gluten. So that protein is not locking it up together. I want to let you see it when I pour it into the container or dish. This is how it looks. So you have your gluten-free pasta. Bring it up close to the camera so that you can see. There we go. And that's about a boil of about 8 to 10 minutes. I reheated it from yesterday, so this one is a little soft. I like it more al dente normally, but it's all about what you prefer. Now we're going to take our pan. I'm going to bring you down just a little so we can see. All right. So now we've got our pasta. We strained it, and it's not overrun with water. And so now we're going to put our pasta in first. And so now we have our macaroni in its dish. Now we're ready to simply pour on the cheese. Let me show you how this cheese looks. Look at there. Cheesy. It's got the color, but more importantly, it's got the flavor. But that shows you how it even has the body too. All right? The key and the secret is the nutritional yeast flakes. That's what makes it really jump and really happen. So gotta go with that. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to coat our noodles with the sauce. And this is just a pound of pasta. And this is from 2 potatoes and a carrot, a cup. This is a lot of cheese. If you were to go and try to buy cheese like this amount, you're looking at maybe $15 because you're going to have to buy about 2 or 3 bags, and vegan cheese normally runs about $4 to $5 a bag. So you're looking at $20 worth of cheese here. That cost us maybe, if you got the nutritional yeast flakes, it maybe cost us about $2. There's a potato and a carrot and some seasonings. With the nutritional yeast flakes, it maybe cost us like $3. But you get a whole lot more. All right. So now, here is our macaroni, and we want to be gentle with it because I cooked this pasta so well, probably too well. You got to be really gentle so it doesn't mash up too much. And all we're trying to do is get everybody acquainted. We're not stirring hard. We're just trying to make sure that all the noodles are covered with the cheese. Okay? That's so cool to be able to say that, right? You thought when you went vegan you couldn't say that anymore. But yes, you can still say the word cheese. But the difference is it's good cheese. All right. So now we have mixed or are mixing everything up with the cheese, the noodles. Make sure you're getting the cheese on the bottom. You want everything to be covered. You don't want any cheese clumped up together. Remember, we were talking in the Sabbath school lesson, right? How Jesus had to kick them out of Rome, get them out to Corinth and Ephesus, Pontus, all those different places. We're mixing everything in here now. All right. Got everybody covered. And honestly, I apologize. I actually overcooked our pasta, but it's okay. So you want to make sure your pasta is on the al dente side so it kind of holds together a little bit better. But this is going to hold together as well. So now we've got all of our macaroni mixed in with cheese. Everybody's covered. Literally, actually, truthfully, you could eat this just like this. You don't even have to cook it. But if you like a macaroni and cheese that has more of a crispness to it and it has that firmness to it, you want to go ahead and bake it. you want to bake it on a low heat. You don't have to bake it hot. Bake it on low 400, 425 for just like 5 minutes and you'll be good to go. It can actually be eaten now, again, because it's vegan cheese. You could go for it and you could taste it as is. So if you like it crispy, go ahead and bake it in that oven for 425 for about 5 or 10 minutes. You can even let it brown on top if you want to broil it, and that way you get that nice crispy top on it. You can have whatever toppings you normally add to your macaroni and cheese, or if you like it soft, you like it just like out of the box, the Kraft cheesy macaroni, you can eat it right now, and it'll taste just as good. But this is how you make vegan cheese, and by God's grace, we were able to make macaroni and cheese even after the circuit blew. So the Lord is good, and thank y'all for your patience. Thank you for letting us know when you couldn't hear us, and now because you let us know, you have a free prize. That's macaroni and cheese, but you can't eat this one. Make sure you make one at home and let us know how it tastes. Go on to changeministry.org. Link up with us on our email at contact@changeministry.org. Let us know how it looked. Some of you, one of you actually, Sister Florence, God bless you, out in Knoxville. She was so sweet. She actually sent us a picture of the brownies that she made. That was so encouraging. And so let us know if you get a chance to make it or someone else makes it. Take a picture, send it to us, and we will share it even if you give us permission with others here at Change Fellowship. That's it, everybody. We're going to go ahead and transition to worship now. Got a powerful word from John 15. Stay with us. Listen to the music, enjoy it, and we'll be back in just a few minutes to wrap up worship. God bless.